Get in there like swimwear. All right, all right, all right. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I am your host, Sander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. Today, we are going to be covering the topic: Are Black men distancing themselves from their own women? Oh, this is going to be a tough topic. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. Make sure you join the membership. If you join the membership, you guys will be able to benefit from the discounts being provided for the This and That merchandise. We have affiliate merchandise that you guys can get involved in, and that will aid you in, buying at your leisure. It'll support the podcast. Also, make sure that you guys remember that if you want to participate in the show, you can click the link in the comments section, approve the mic, approve the camera, and if you do, then it'll put you into our green room. And once you get into our green room, I confirm that you're over the age of 18, and then I can bring you on to the podcast. Uh, Once we get you up here, you'll be able to either turn off your camera or keep your camera running, and you'll be able to talk to us in real time and be seen. Get your 15 minutes of fame. That'll be really nice. For you guys that are on TikTok, we have. Oh, what is going on with the linked view? Let's see. You guys should be able to see the link from. There it is. The link that is supposed to be in the bottom right side of our screen. For some reason, it's not there. I don't know why it's not there. It's showing that it's there, but for some reason, it's not there. Yeah, it's supposed to pop up just like that, and it ain't popping up. Either way, we have links to the show, to the podcast. For some reason, it is not showing up at this time. I can grab it for you. That way, if you want to join the podcast, you can. You can join the live stream on YouTube. All you have to do is go over to the YouTube side for This and That and everything in between, and you can grab it from there. Or the link I'm about to grab for you will take you directly over to the podcast. I got to get it back up onto the screen, so bear with me. I strongly apologize for the technical difficulties that we stumble across on a regular basis with the setup of this podcast. I got to tell you that TikTok Studio is very tough to deal with. It is very, very tough to deal with. So I strongly try my best to utilize StreamYard. But for those of you that are still not familiar with the podcast, who would not know to come and dive in by clicking the link, I understand that I got to kind of help you guys find us so that you'll be able to jump in and enjoy yourselves. So, why am I picture is there? We oh, hold on, y'all. Please, there we go. Grab the mic. Start. All right, now we back. I'm trying to get y'all the link to the podcast, and this is sitting over here doing some other stuff. Uh, this is what happens when you're trying to when you're trying. Oh, it's in there. Put it in there right. When you're trying to now it's up there. So that when you're trying to stream from two different stream platforms. So now you can see on the bottom right hand side of the screen, you can see the subscription thing for our YouTube channel. You can click that link over there and it will bring you over to our YouTube channel where you can then subscribe and then come back to us on TikTok. You'll be able to see what we've got going on. We've got about 35, 40 episodes already pre-listed going into October. So you'll be able to see some of the hot topics that we're going to be talking about and some of the things that will be in our line of view coming soon. So I strongly recommend that you take a look at that. because I know that you'll like it. Woo, woo. The horrors of this. All right, so let's get on to our topic. Because I know that this TikTok platform is rough for me. I'm over here trying to make it work. I appreciate you coming in, Red Void. I see you there. For the rest of you guys that are coming, I see Liberty Twitcher, Silly Emma. Appreciate you guys coming and showing us some support. So let's get into today's topic. We're supposed to be talking about how the brothers is pulling away from the sisters, and we're looking at sociologically. You're going to see that the minority men are less willing to date the minority women more often than not, and we're trying to figure out why that is. Now, I have my speculations, and I'm going to be giving you my speculations in a brief moment, but let's just understand that while we've been talking about our dating constructs over the past few months or so, we've been discussing the differences between the expectations of men versus the expectations of women. Now, what we have not been really diving into is the motivation of women. And this is going to play into the reason why men are pulling away from women. But they're also going to be pulling away more so from certain types of women, and those certain types of women then end up falling into a certain social or racial category, and it's not necessarily a stereotypical situation. It's a highly observed behavior pattern that just so happens to be insignificant for a specific group. It turns out to be a specific group, but it is uniformly seen in all areas. So this is one of the things that you have to pay attention to, is that it's not just the minorities that are behaving in this fashion. There's a larger quantity of women across the board that behave in this fashion, but the men are pulling away from this particular type of behavior, and you see this behavior more often than not from the minority women. So what we're going to go off of is the motivation. So when we have the women that are coming out of the hard not likes of the low income communities, these are the types of women that are going to work really hard to get to their levels of success. These are going to be the women that are going to chase the education. They're going to chase a career. It doesn't necessarily have to be a profitable career. A lot of the times women are going to go for less physically strenuous jobs, air conditioned jobs. They're mentally taxing jobs. They're not really going to be getting a lot of physical strenuous jobs, dangerous jobs, heat stroke outside kind of jobs. But regardless of the fact, they're going to be trying to get them some type of job or career that will sustain their standard of living. Women still operate off of the hypergamy theory, where when they get a man that is of value to her is going to elevate her out of that particular environment. So whatever she can do for herself, the man is supposed to do better than her, so that she's living a better lifestyle than what she would have been living by herself. And that's where I can do bad out by myself is the scenario that a lot of the feminist women utilize, because they are struggling on their own. So they don't need to struggle with the man. They can struggle by themselves. They have not wrapped their minds around the concept that a man that is on their level can do for them what they can do for themselves. And the man doing it for them allows them to not have to do it for themselves, which allows those women to not have as much stress or responsibility by choice, because when they select a man, they select a person that will cover those obligations. So they're selecting a representative in life that will deal with all the bullshit that they don't want to deal with in life. And the mentality behind that is not yet recognized by women, because the women are not going to actually allow men to make the executive decisions and have final say in things, where the women are going to really take a back seat and not delegate at all and just sit back and watch what happens. And it's a very complex scenario for us to be in. But what we deal with some of the women that are coming out of the lower income environments is that they have to grind. They have to, really work hard to get to wherever they are. Even if they're still in the lower areas, they have to grind to get to where they are. They have to struggle really hard, 2 jobs, sometimes more than that, to make ends meet. And then if they end up in a relationship, they don't typically want to lose whatever status that they've established for themselves, no matter how mediocre or lower prestige that status is. They don't want to sacrifice that for anything else, which is completely understandable. But the other thing is that because of the social and economical divides that we've had in the Western culture, we have the lower status people that are typically used to having to push their way into areas of being respected and trying 10 times harder than the next person to push their way into levels of being respected or treated equally, or not even equally, but just not treated as if they're beneath everybody else, even if they're not equal to everybody else. That type of motivation leads them to have it instilled in their core that they should dominate everything. Now, understandably, women have come to understand that the liberation of women gave them the ability to be treated equally to men, but women still fall back on the fact that because they're women, they're not supposed to have the responsibility as men when that responsibility is not in favor of the woman's desires. But when the woman wants this responsibility, she demands the responsibility to the magnitude of conquering the man in order to have the freedom to make decisions. But she does not want the responsibility of dealing with the fallout of those decisions, or having to deal with collateral damage, or cleaning up messes, or fixing other people's mistakes, which is a conflict of interest, because if you're going to take a leadership role, you have to be responsible for the failures, not just the successes. And you can't just be a dictator where you're barking out orders and then you're going to fuss at the people that you barked out orders to because they either did what you told them and did not have the right results and you're disappointed in them, or they didn't do what you said and got the right results and you're disappointed in them. In either situation, you're chewing out the person that's doing all the work for you, but you're not showing them any appreciation or reciprocation, and you're not valuing the person. Now, this is going to be an issue that men are going to be pulling away from, but I'm going to get into that in just a second. I kind of want to touch base on the other aspects of things, is that because coming out of a financially constrained environment, that every dollar counts. This is where the transactional relationships are coming from, because people are financially challenged, and because they need a lot more money, instead of them wasting their time socializing with individuals that may not cover the bill, they are testing the men that they engage by seeing how much money the man is willing to waste on them, so that they can determine if that man would be willing to pay for all of their bills. Unfortunately, these women are short-sighted with this particular type of behavior pattern, because you have to realize that if you have a good man, he's going to pay all of the bills insistively. So the concern that we have is that you're doing the wrong method to find out if you have a really good man, instead of you following through the method of finding out how he's going to treat you, cater to your emotions, and prioritize your needs, not entertain your unrealistic expectations or over expectations for desire to be achieved, and actually work with this person, if he has ambition, to see if he's going to be more successful than what he was when he met you, so that you'll be able to come to understand if you can grow with this person. That is not the mentality that women typically walk into a relationship with. They typically walk into a relationship with the type of person that is going to pay their bills, and that's all they really focus on. The first thing that the broke women are going to do is they're going to challenge the man to take them out on steak dinners. Broke women don't eat steak dinners on a regular basis. Broke women only eat steak dinners when a man is trying to present himself as valuable and useful to the woman, decides to take the woman out to steak dinners. But truth be told, on a regular basis, the woman's probably eating ramen noodles and Pringles soup. She's probably not even eating a real meal on a regular basis. If she is, she's probably eating TV dinners and probably doing a lot of McDonald's and Taco Bell, which is why she doesn't want to go to McDonald's and Taco Bell for a first date, because that's what she could do for herself. So since she's already content with fast food, she wants to have an upscale dinner, and that's out of the norm for her. So if she's going to get a man that's going to take her out of her natural habitat, you're not going to take her to places that she goes by herself and that she goes with her homegirls. She's going to go to places that she doesn't have the opportunity to go to, whether or not she can't afford it or she just doesn't have the time and motivation to take herself there. She's not going to go to those places on a regular basis. So it's your obligation as a man to take her to those places. Well, fellas, this is where the ship starts sinking, because you have to recognize that if she's not taking herself out to Red Lobster on a daily basis, then she shouldn't be trying to go to Red Lobster on her first date. And if she is a valuable woman and she's going out to Red Lobster for herself on a regular basis, then she should be going out to Red Lobster with you at her expense on the first date, so that you can find out if she is the kind of person that you would want to take out for a second date. But if she's the kind of person that does fast food on a daily basis, and now she's coming to you and telling you, well, I only eat steak. Any woman, and I'm going to tell you right now, any woman that tells you that she only eats steak is lying. Most women eat salad. They don't. And there's so many of them that are watching their weight that there's very few that believably only eat steak and is still able to maintain 120 pounds. It's not possible. You gain a lot of weight off of a high protein diet. You're not gonna fit a 125, 130 pound body frame and you only eat steak. Unless you're only eating 3 strips of steak out of the whole day, because it takes a lot more time for your body to process meats, beef, than what it does for you to be able to process vegetables and fruits and other such more easily degradable foods. So telling me that you only eat meats and you're 5'2", 125 pounds, it's a complete lie. Based on a small frame, it could easily be assumed that you miss a few meals a day. You probably only eat once a day, sometimes twice a day when you're lucky, and it isn't really big meals. Now, if you were 176 pounds at 5'4", then yeah, you only eat steak. I could believe that. But 5'7", 140 pounds, only eating steak, not likely. Not likely. And if you don't believe me, if you can afford it, eat you a steak diet for 30 days, watch yourself gain 15 pounds. Let's just be real. So from that notion, we come to understand that out the gate, fellas, if she's going to lie to you and set the par that you've got to bring her to steak dinner, you got to set the par and you've got to show her the steak dinner is not where she's at and she has to earn steak dinner. And if she's not satisfied with that, then she is not worth your time, because if you don't know her value, you haven't checked the Carfax yet. You're not about to buy a car on face value without checking the Carfax. So you're going to have to figure out who she is and what she's about before you start taking her out there to some steak dinners. You're going to have to check her references before you start taking her out there to steak dinners. So steak dinner is not on the menu. You're not even going to a place that cooks steak, much less serves steak. So no IHOP, you know what I'm saying? No Waffle House. You know what I'm saying? You're not going places that's $25 a plate, because she ain't worth that when you first meet her. When you first meet her, $5. And that's not even a whole Happy Meal. That's like 2 cheeseburgers and a small Sprite. That's it. That's what you're getting. 2 tacos and a medium drink. That's all you're getting. Once I figure out who you are, then we can figure out where we're going from there, because why am I paying $10 to find out who you are? If I'm going to spend $30 on you, I'm going to spend $30 doing a background check on you so that I can find out where you've been and what you've done and who all you've done it to. But for me to just go ahead and just dig a tad bit into your background by spending $400 on how much you eat, that does not help me know who you are. So when we're talking about why men are pulling away from the women are dry begging because they're so broke in our current economy. The men are broke too, but the women are a lot more financially strained than the men are more often than not, because the women are not getting the same career path choices that the men are getting. The men are getting the type of paths that are strenuous physically, strenuous mentally, dangerous to the magnitude where the hazard pay gives them enough money to take care of their standard of living. Double overtime gives them the ability to take care of their standard of living. Men that'll make $20, $22 an hour on their job, but they're working 60 hours a week. Half the week, they're making $35, $45 an hour. The average woman that is working at a hospital or working at a school and doing a damn good job with their degree, where they're making $48,000 a year, $52,000 a year, even if you've got 3 months off out of the year paid on salary, the fact is that if you're drawing back 50 and the guy that's working at the McDonald's is drawing back 65, 72, I mean, you went to college to get $100,000 worth of debt so that this dropout can make more money than you. So the issue that men are pulling away from is that a man could go to college and come back and then be a store manager of a fast food restaurant chain like Chick-fil-A or something to that effect. And because he's the manager of a store, well, he could be the franchise owner, but because he runs the store, he's not valuable to her unless he tells her that he's making 70 or 80,000 a year. But the fact is that a guy flipping burgers in the back can be making more money than a nurse on a regular basis these days. Blue collar jobs are starting to become more financially profitable for the average blue collar worker than going to college and making something out of yourself, because going to college and make something out of yourself still requires you to have 2 to 5 years of experience on the job before they start paying you those big bucks of $30 an hour, where your fast food restaurant is paying you 20 to 25 with the same years of experience. So you got to get 5 years of experience to make $5 an hour more than a dropout. Whereas until you get that 5 years of experience, you're making $5 an hour less than a dropout. Do you see how the lines are skewed here? Now, I know a lot of women are going to say, oh, there's a wage gap. Nope, there's a choice gap. So women choose the kind of jobs that don't pay as much as the men choose. And then there's a 75 cents per or 25 cents on the dollar difference between the career choices that women make versus the career choices that men make. Doesn't mean that women are getting paid less than men. But if you get a man and a woman on the same job making the same amount of money, you still got that woman saying that the man is supposed to do the heavy lifting and take out the trash, because it's a man's job to do heavy lifting and take out trash. It is very rarely do you see a woman that will lift that box herself, that will climb that shelf herself, that'll take the trash out herself. Those are going to be the ones that you diamonds in the rough that are really good keepers, because those will be the ones that'll cook and clean and take care of everything at the house after they finish working a full-time job. You don't find those very often. You typically find them in the restaurants, but you don't find those very often, because more often than not, where you go, where you work at, you find the women that are like, oh, can you take that for me? And you being a team player, yeah, sure, I'm already taking mine, I'll take yours too. But when you stop and think about it, if your side work is to take out trash and my side work is to take out trash, we're both supposed to be outside taking out trash at the same time if it's time to take out the trash. I shouldn't be the only one out there taking out trash. But because I'm the only one out there taking out trash, if I'm going to get paid more money because I'm taking out the trash and I'm unloading the truck, then you shouldn't be complaining about the fact that I'm making 25 cents an hour more than you, because I'm taking out the trash and I'm unloading the truck, and you don't want to do that because you say that you're a girl. Now, when we start talking about why the men are pulling away from the women, the men are going to be pulling away from the women because when the men are more financially successful than the women's behavior is, we have more money. We have a good lifestyle, because she incorporates her income and her resources into his income and his resources as the income and resources that she can utilize. But when the shoe is on the other foot and she has made it to that alpha boss lady status and she's making more money than him, It's her money is her money, and he shouldn't be spending her money, but she should be spending his money, and he should be trying to find better ways to make himself more money, because she shouldn't be dealing with him being a broke dude because he doesn't make any money or he doesn't make enough money. We have those women that will belittle the men and shame the men because the men don't make as much money as her. And actually, we have a lot of situations where after a while, if the man was making more money than her when a relationship started, but she surpasses him in income because of his assistance to her success, she's not going to reciprocate a lot of the times and then aid him in his ability to become successful. I told y'all a story a few months ago about the woman that the man put through nursing school. She got out of college. She went to work in the hospital. Now that she's working in the hospital, the dude loses his job. He was unemployed for a year, and she left him for a man with more money. Now, he put her through college so that she could have a better paying job, but she did not have the value in him to put him through college so that he could get a better paying job. These are the things that men pull away from. Now, the minority men are going to be pulling away from the minority women. I told y'all that I was going to touch base with that. The reason why the minority men are pulling away from the minority women is because the minority women feel like they are too good to aid a man in his success. They also don't follow instructions. They feel like they should be the boss, even if they are not the one putting in the largest quantity of resources into the fold. They believe that they should be in charge of everything. What is mine is yours, and what is yours, but I'm supposed to do what you say with my stuff when I cannot tell you what to do with your stuff. That is not uniform. You know, I keep telling you guys to make it make sense. What you expect me to do for you, I should be able to expect you to do for me. What you expect to have control over, I should be able to expect to have control over. If it is not uniform, it is not balanced. If it is not balanced, it doesn't make sense. There should not be favoritism in a situation where there isn't reciprocal favoritism in another situation, similar to the same two people, where if you're going to control the spending habits, I control the investment habits. Something, we got to be able to have balance. If we don't have balance, it's not going to make sense. Now, likewise, I've said before, if you pay the cost to be the boss, if you're making the 70% of the money that's going into the pot, if you're putting in 2/3, that's 66%. If you're putting in 2/3, you should get last say on everything, because majority of your money is being invested into everything. The other person does have a say because they are putting in, but they don't have the last say because they're not putting in as much. But notice it's not specifically from my perspective that it's specifically the man because he's a man. I said whoever pays the cost be the boss. So if you're in a situation with minority women that feel like they're not going to submit to the authority of a man, even if he is financially more successful than she is, then you're looking at a woman that's not willing to follow the leader when you elect a man to lead the same way that you hire an attorney. When you hire an attorney, you pay that person to represent you in court. They're going to say what needs to be said on your behalf. Whether you agree what they say or not, you discuss that outside of the courtroom. If your attorney is not representing you the way you want them to represent you, you talk to your attorney about it a couple times, try to straighten out your attorney, and then if they don't straighten out, you replace them. But you never not let your attorney represent you because that's what your attorney was selected for, to represent you. Same thing when you select a boyfriend. That boyfriend is supposed to represent you. He's supposed to represent all of your interests. He's supposed to make financial decisions in your best interest. He's supposed to be able to negotiate in your best interest. He's supposed to fight battles for you in your best interest. He's supposed to take the fall for you in your best interest. He's supposed to take the bullet for you in your best interest, which means that you're supposed to sit down and shut up and do whatever he tells you to do in your best interest, because if you are quiet, he can talk for you. You don't want a man to talk for you, but if the man talks for you and says something sideways, he's the one getting punched in the mouth, not you. That is the whole purpose of him talking for you. So if the situation goes south, he's the one getting in trouble for the situation going south, not you. You don't understand that with that responsibility comes collateral damage requirements, comes the consequences of those abilities to make decisions, comes the cleanup. You don't want that half of things. Now, women say, oh, well, I can defend myself. Oh, I can do this and that for myself. I believe that you can. Anybody who has a pulse can protect themselves. But if the situation was expected that a woman was supposed to protect a man, then a man would expect when he gets a woman that she will protect him. Likewise, when you go and buy yourself a Glock, I hate Glocks, but if you was to go and buy yourself a Glock with a Glock switch, you would expect that Glock and that Glock switch to work for you whenever you want that Glock and that Glock switch to work for you. You are not going to go and select yourself a Glock and then say that you are not going to use that Glock, that instead you are going to use your own personal kung fu. Then why the hell did you select the dang Glock if you got it where it can do the job for you? It is your equalizer. If it can do the job for you, you let it do the job for you. People who have bodyguards, their bodyguards tell them when to get up. Their bodyguards tell them when to stay down. Their bodyguards tell them when to leave the room. Their bodyguards tell them when not to leave the room. Their bodyguards tell them to get in the car. Their bodyguards tell them when not to get in the car. You're paying a grown man will pay another grown man to tell him what to do. Now, granted, that man still has the opportunity because he's paying the bodyguard to tell the bodyguard when not to take action. But when it is time for the bodyguard to step up and protect his client, the bodyguard dictates what's happening. The bodyguard tells the client when to shut up, when not to get involved in a situation that the bodyguard won't be able to protect him in because the dude is acting out of control. So when you recognize that in these situations that the protector is supposed to protect and the protector can't protect if you can't follow instructions, then a lot of the time the bodyguard will quit and say, look, if I can't keep you out of trouble because you don't want to follow my instructions, then I can't do this. And that's when you have to pull away. That's when you have to back out of the deal. So it is strongly advisable that when you elect somebody to stand up for you, your sword and your shield, you are electing that person to take the hits, which means that you've got to go sit down somewhere and let that person take the hits. You've got to be the ring general. You've got to be the cut man in the background where you let him take all the hits and then you clean him up and send him back out there for the fight. But never do you go in there and fight for him because that's what you hired him for. That's what you selected him for, is for him to fight for you. So the issue that we're having is that since the women want to take charge and they want to take charge selectively, they don't want to be in charge all the time. They don't want to be in charge when shit gets tough. They want to be in charge when shit's not tough. Then when shit gets tough, you're the man. You're supposed to be able to fix this. That's not going to work for men. And then the minority men that are already got to deal with oppression. They already got to deal with social classism. They already got to deal with mild levels, if not severe levels of racism. And now they've got to deal with their girlfriend cursing them out and telling them what the fuck she's not going to do. And then she's going to tell him how he ain't shit because he ain't did what she wanted him to do. But she's not contributing to the situation. This makes it harder for the man to be able to protect and provide for that woman because he's got to fight with her to protect her. And then he's got to take the time that he should have been resting and try to deal with squabbles at the house because he doesn't have peace at his house. And then he has to wake up late, go to work late, leave from work late, come back to a house full of chaos. Men aren't trying to do that. So one of the main reasons why men are pulling away from women is because men are tired of the drama. They're tired of the bullshit. I can tell you, my buddy had came. I talked to him earlier today. He checked in, and he was talking to me about the girl because I had sent them a link early this morning about this girl who put the guy in the friend zone, and she was talking about how friend zones are for losers and how the men that are in the friend zones are more than worthless. And that's just me editing out what she really said about being in a friend zone. Now, she said this while she had her male best friend or whatever standing right next to her. So this is what she thinks about him. And he stood there. I don't understand it. But I sent that to my homie, and my homie comes back to me and he tells me, oh, well, I'm glad that I don't have to deal with that. He's in the friend zone. You do have to deal with that. His response is, well, yeah, well, I'm single, so I don't have to worry about that. Bro, being single and being in the friend zone where you have female friends that you wish that you were in a relationship with, but you're not in a relationship with, that they don't separate one another. Being single doesn't save you from the friend zone. What saves you from the friend zone is refusing to allow yourself to be in the friend zone. I have no female friends. I have friends, but I have no female friends. Because I'm not going to be in a situation where I'm going to have to, as a friend, financially contribute for a friend that is not going to contribute for me. At the end of the day, I told him, I said, you should not be investing in a person that's not investing in you. And then he's like, oh, well, what about acquaintances? Now we had a whole show about that where he was trying to gauge people at different tier systems to validate how he treats people better than they're worth to him. And I told him straight up, you are not supposed to associate with associates. You are not supposed to be acquainted with acquaintances. You are not supposed to express your time or effort into anyone who is willing to waste your time and effort to make money. If they are not investing themselves in trying to make your money for you or make money with you, then you should not be associating with them, because while most men, real men, dedicate themselves to trying to find ways to make more money so that they can increase their financial stability, so that they can increase their accessibility to resources, which also makes them more qualifiable for the acceptance of a female. Now, while those men are grinding at the stone to make themselves successful, why would they distract themselves from their success to go and get involved with a woman that's going to spend all of his money and then leave him for another man? You don't want to be in the friend zone with somebody who's going to call you for a few $100 here and there to cover her expenses, which is what you would do as a boyfriend, but she's not giving you girlfriend behavior. That's not okay. That's not okay. I understand that Western culture is transactional. You might have to rent her to do certain things that you need a girlfriend to do, that so that she can get that money from you. But you are not going to be in a situation where you're in the friend zone, where you're the friend. We're going to be talking about platonic friends coming down the line, but you're in a friend zone with her and you're funding her standard of living as just a friend with no strings attached, where you're generous and you're giving her money. I told you on a show last night that any woman that says on her profile that she wants a man to be generous is a gold digger, because she wants you to give her money where she doesn't have to earn it. She wants you to take her trips around the world where she doesn't have to earn that. She wants you to cater to her wants, needs, and desires where she doesn't have to cater to your wants, needs, and desires. That is not valuable to you. As a man, a woman is supposed to benefit you, which means that your life gets better because she's in it. And sex doesn't make your life better. Sex is recreationally utilized as entertainment outside of procreation. Your life doesn't improve if you have access to sex, because your sex is not paying your bills. It might enjoy your mood for the 45 seconds that you're enjoying it. The hour to 2 hours of work you have to put into that 45 seconds of enjoyment, because the best part of it is the finish. To be real, the very beginning and the very end is the 45 seconds of satisfaction that the man has. The rest of it is all his work, because you don't really have too many women that are like really putting in the work to please the man, where the man just has to lay there and take it. You have more often than not, the guy is the one that's doing like 3 days worth of cardio for this 2 hour sex affair. So it's not really all that entertaining for men, to the fact that he has to put in a third job for this whole sex situation. So let's really rethink the whole sex idea. Now, outside of the sex, what benefit is she bringing to the man? Because when you're getting those helpers, like I told you yesterday, when the mediocre tasks are being done so that you don't have to be in two places at one time. If you've got 3 appointments today, 15 minutes apart, with a 30-minute travel time, and you've got a helper where she can represent you at one of those places, where you can go to the first one, she can go to the second one, and you can go to the third one, you've got a team player. When you say, what is she going to bring to the table? What is she going to do for you? How is she going to benefit you in some way, shape, or form? If you don't have time to cook yourself a real meal so that you're eating healthy food, so that you have more energy, so that you can work more, so that you can make more money, if she's willing to get in the kitchen and cook the food for you, then you've got to help her. If you have too much time doing work to make money where you could at least clean your laundry, but you don't have the time or the energy to put your laundry away. If she's able to clean your laundry and put your laundry away where you don't have to wear clothes with wrinkles on it because you didn't have time to put your clothes away, you don't have time to iron your clothes, she's a helper. She's able to get things done for you that you don't have the time to do for yourself. But if all she's going to do is stand there and look pretty, she's going to be the smile that you get, and then the sex that you get after you finish busting your ass for the two of y'all. You're not benefiting from her. She's benefiting from you. So the thing that have men pulling away from women is that the women's expectations of their role in a relationship is skewed because women believe that they do not have to contribute to the man. They feel like the man is obligated to contribute to her, and then he has to fund her existence, but she doesn't have to do anything to aid him in his ability to fund her existence. And ladies, if your actions are indirectly selfish, you still are better off than directly being selfish. Because if you're taking care of him enough for him to take care of you, if you're taking care of him so that he can take care of you better, then you're investing more time and more effort and more resources into his capability to grind the stone and take care of you. It's a lot like anybody who plays a video game pays the membership. You pay the membership so that you get more access to more resources so that you can upgrade your avatar so that your avatar can kick more ass on the game. Same thing in life. You take better care of your man so that your man can work and make more money so that your man can bring more money back and spend more of that money on you. Now, likewise, you also want to have a man that's going to take a larger percentage of that money and invest it so that there is a retirement of some sort so that he can stop working and enjoy life with you instead of spending every waking moment on the job. You also want to be able to have the ability to go on vacation so that he has time to rest. You also want to have the ability to be able to travel and see more than just a work site. And you're not going to be able to accomplish a lot of these goals if you are not going to put your money away and be more responsible about your money. Being able to come out of debt is a huge success for a relationship where the two of y'all come together, you pull your bills together, and now you're out of debt. That's a huge success for you guys. But being able to invest in ways where you guys have residual income coming in. People are going to call it passive. It's not passive because you put a shit ton of work in to get the money. It's not passive. Passive is when something flows through you that you ain't have to do shit for. It is residual because you put a shit ton of work in back in the day, and it is residual money that's coming in from past efforts. Passive is when you move your money from your bank account and move it into a stock option, and now you're getting paid dividends to your bank account from your stock option. That's passive because you don't have to do anything to work for that money, but the money is continuously being deposited into your bank account. That's passive. And when I say you don't have to do, the hardest part was transfer funds. That's more passive than anything. But even in real estate, you've got to call hundreds of thousands of houses, talk to hundreds of thousands of owners, talk somebody into selling you the house, go to a financial institution that's going to give you the money to pay for the house if you don't already have the money to pay for the house. You got to get a broker. You got to get an agent. You close on a deal. You got to pay the cost. Then when you get the property, you have the appraiser come through and tell you what's wrong with the house if you didn't do it before the close. Now you got to fix all the shit on the house. And then you got to sell the house. So now you got to get your own agent. Then you got to get another broker. Then you got to find somebody to buy it. Then you got to pay all the workers that did the job for you. And that is not going to pay you for the rest of your life. If you didn't break even on that situation, if you made $10,000 or $20,000 off of that situation, that was $10,000 or $20,000 off of that situation. You have to replicate that over a number of times so that you can have a $70,000 a year lifestyle, which means that if you're making $10,000 to $20,000 per deal, you have to have 10 deals to have $70,000 to $100,000 of or $100,000 to $120,000 of income. And then you got to pay you a CPA to help you with your taxes so that you can file all of your taxes and claim all of your shit and make sure that your money is right. So all of this that you got going on, by all means, that is not Passive. Passive is when you're sitting on a yacht and you get a text message that you just made $1 million and you didn't have to do anything in the past 2 years for that. That's passive. You know, an actor that gets a back end deal where they act on a movie today and they get paid the residual income off of the royalties is what it's called, off of the sales of the movie. So you help create the movie and then you get a percentage of the sales of the movie for the existence of the movie. That's residual. You might have put in 10 or 20 hours into making the movie, but for the rest of your life, and if you will that to your children and your grandchildren for the rest of their life, every time that movie makes money, you make money. That's residual. That's not passive. But they call it passive to make you feel better. They rename bullshit ass titles to help you feel better so that you can say, oh, you know, I make passive income. No, you bust your ass at one point in your life so that you can get this money in. And now that the money is coming in, now you are able to reap the rewards of your past efforts. And you should be proud of that. But that's not passive. That's residual. Now, when we're sitting over here talking about how we got to grind at the stone and we want us to be in a positive relationship where we're dealing with somebody that is worthy of our time, that is worthy of the resources that we have built for ourselves, we have to then look at the fact that the sisters that we typically try to go to put that axe to the grindstone and tell you that they're not going to do certain things and they're not going to treat you certain ways unless you do certain things like a hostage negotiation. And that doesn't work a lot of the times for the men, because if I got to work to get this, you got to work to get it from me. I had to work to get it for myself. You got to work to get it for me. You can't tell me that you're not going to treat me the way a girlfriend or a wife would treat me unless I spend a certain quantity of money on your daily habits. That makes absolutely no sense. So now we start dealing with this other behavior that we have with some of the minority women that we're engaging these days, which is also causing men to pull away, is that they are stipulating that we have to buy, we have to spend, we have to invest in all of the frivolous shit that they got going on that is not even core necessities. This isn't like you need heat. This isn't like you need running water. This isn't like you need clean clothes and a bath. They're talking about hair, nails. We want natural women, not just because it saves us money. We want natural women because you look better when you're natural. We want to be attracted to what you look like on your worst day. We don't want to be attracted to what you look like on your best day. And then when you can't afford to have your best day, now you look like Shrek, and I'm supposed to feel for you the way I felt for you when you look like Pocahontas. That makes no fucking sense. If you don't look like Pocahontas on a regular basis, you should not come to me pretending like Cinderella. And then when clock strikes midnight and midnight is going to last for 45 days, I don't want to deal with that shit. Most men don't want to deal with that shit. This is one of the reasons why men are going to pull away. I call it upkeep, and I don't pay for upkeep. I also say when women say that they're a 10, I say that the quantity of money that you have to spend to make yourself a 9.5 that you're going to round up to a 10 is how much ugly that you really are, or at least that's how much ugly you think you are, because you have to put on $2,500 worth of makeup, $700 worth of Brazilian weave. You got to put on $300 worth of fake eyelashes, $150 worth of fake fingernails, waist trainer, push-up bra, padded push-up bra, butt lifters. And that's before you start talking about the 2-inch sole in the shoe and the 6-inch stilettos, so that you can go from being 5'1" to 5'7", so that you can then tell me that because I'm 5'6.25" that I'm not tall enough for you. Well, if you take off them fucking clown shoes, then I'd be perfectly tall for you. But I'm not about to make myself taller because you are standing on stilts. I could give two shits. If you're standing on stilts, you're standing on stilts by your goddamn self. But I don't date girls that stand on stilts. So it's not going to bother me if you want somebody taller than me. You can want somebody taller than me because I want somebody shorter than me. So we both are in agreement right now that while you are wearing 6-inch stilettos with platform shoes on them, because you're not going to be able to wear 6-inch stilettos at 5'1", because the 6-inch shoe is going to be like this which means that they're going to have to put a platform on it in order for you to be able to at least stand on your toes. So you're standing on your toes with a 3-inch lift from your big toe so that you can look like you're 5'7". And then you're going to say that you want a man that is 6'3". Now, a man that's 6'3" is going to want a woman that is 6'1". You're 5'2", 5'1". You're going to put on heels so that you can find that 6'3", when you can be just fine with a guy that's 5'7". Unrealistic expectations. Now, these unrealistic expectations is going to be one of the reasons why men that are going to be pulling away in engagements with women, because why the fuck are we jumping through all of these hoops to meet requirements that are unrealistic to the magnitude that it's not like I can just change the way I do things. Men are not going to be able to change the way they do things so that they can improve physical characteristics about themselves that are genetically unmodifiable. You want a man to be tall. You want a man to have a freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger body. You want a man to you know, not have a gut on him or whatever. And you're going to say that all of these requirements are going to be the physical attributes. They have to be a certain skin color. They have to be they have to have a certain hair texture. They have to have physical characteristics that they cannot change. And if they don't have that, you're not interested. But ladies, you also still hypocritically say that a man is supposed to accept you for who you are, the way you look right now today. So bullet wounds and stretch marks and C-sections and tattoos sagging. It says Cheryl when you first got it. Now it says Cheryl went to Texas and now she's going back to Maine. So your tattoo sagging. And you're telling me that we're supposed to accept all of your bad choices so that you don't have to change, so that you don't have to improve yourself. You had a few kids. You didn't go to the gym and get your stomach back. So your stomach is hanging over your knees, and we're supposed to say, okay, it's okay. I accept you for who you are. But the guy has to look like a freaking athlete throughout his life in order for you to say that you're okay with him. That's not balanced. That's not balanced. So what we're looking at is that because the situation isn't balanced, because we're not getting the same treatment as men, but the guys are like, you know what? Why am I allowing myself to be judged like this? This is a circus of judgment that I have to deal with in order for me to be able to find a person that then is not going to meet my expectations. Why am I going through that? That part I say all the time, it doesn't make any sense. If I've got to jump through all of these hoops to meet your expectations, there's a whole another set of hoops here that you're going to have to jump through to meet my expectations, because as much as you have to be satisfied with me, I have to be satisfied with you. And since women control the sex, men control the relationship. So that means that the women are going to have to qualify to be worthy of a relationship. And fellas, if she's not relationship worthy, friend zone or no, you're not supposed to be talking to her. And fellas, you're not supposed to be allowing yourselves to be put into the friend zone. You should have 0 female friends. If these people that you're associating with are not trying to make money for you, and I don't care how they do it, if they're not bringing you money or bringing you business, where you got your own business and they're bringing you customers, then they're not worth your time. You should be talking with them. Because I know for a fact that more often than not, you're going to have those women that will drop you for work because work makes more money than you do. They will leave you and go and date one of their colleagues. And the fact is that as monogamy is in favor of women, because men are supposed to procreate, and in order for a man to be the theory, survival of the fittest, is based off of the man with the largest quantity of lineage in the gene pool, the more successful his heritage is going to be. So a man with 209 kids over 130 years is going to have a stronger lineage than a man with 1 kid or no kids. A man with no kids, when he dies, he has no lineage. He has no legacy. A man with 10 or 15 kids has a legacy with a probability that some of them will survive to reproduce, to have grandchildren. But when women say that they don't want kids, they're telling a man that wants kids that he's not allowed to have kids, but he has to date her. Women have to really think about the decisions that they're making when you are making a choice that it's your body and you can choose whatever you want. You're making a choice that negatively impacts your partner, but you want your partner to show some kind of discipline and restraint to be able to be obedient to your expectations. And then you're not going to reciprocate in any way, shape, or form to that. You are asking for an insane quantity of impossibilities. If the man is wanting to expand his family, if the man is wanting to start a family, and he starts dating you, you're not interested in kids. It's just like if the man has dogs, you don't like animals, he ain't supposed to be trying to fuck with you, because his interests are not your interests, and your interests will compromise his interests. Ladies, I can tell you right now, I have dated some women that will tell me that if I had pets, that I would have to get rid of my animals because she doesn't like animals. Now, if I was a dumbass, I would get rid of my animals so that she would be happy, but I wouldn't be happy. And the problem that you would have with that situation is that when that relationship fails, not only did you lose the animals that you sacrificed for the relationship, you also lose the relationship. Because if the woman doesn't get what she wants out of the relationship in a reasonable period of time, she typically bails on a relationship. This is the reason why 70 to 90% of women leave the relationship. They don't leave the relationship because the men are abusive. They don't leave the relationship because the man mistreated her. They leave the relationship because they were unsatisfied based on their expectations. There are women that leave because of abuse. There are women that leave because they're not being treated right. But 70 to 90% of women are leaving because their expectations were not met, not because the man was a bad man. That's something that we need to pay attention to. The 10 to 30% of men that walk out on a relationship, they walk out on a relationship because they did not like the way they were being treated. Because the women don't have to provide them with anything. So the men's only expectations is treat me right, and I will give you the world to the best of my ability. So the 10 to 30% of men that walk away from a woman because they don't like the way they're being cheated. So if she's cheating on him or she's mistreating him in either situation, he's not happy with that and he's walking away. Now, there are some men that are beta men, delta men at best, that are good with being in a friend zone. They stay single because they're emotionally attached to their female friend that don't want them because they're not worthy as a man. They're not going to make themselves worthy as a man, but they're not going to find another woman that could actually be a good partner to them at their current status. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be content with whatever attention that they get from a woman, but they're not going to aim for better and strive to be better so that they can get better because they deserve better. Now, the women that engage those men have no problem with putting those men in the friend zones. And while those men are in the friend zone, those women will be able to call in them for a favor because, yeah, the guy's going to call her for a favor because he's fucking broke. So he's going to be like, hey, I need some money. She's going to give it to him. She's going to say, hey, I need you to babysit. He's going to babysit. And they're going to have a fictitious relationship that is undefined because she's already got a boyfriend. She's got another boyfriend. She's going to have another boyfriend. Notice that's 3. Now, remember, I told you that I told my homeboy about women that have male friends, and when I said that at some point in time they're going to tap into the resource, and my homeboy told me, he's like, nah, that's just some women. I'm like, no, that's across the board, bro. And I broke it down to him. A woman with one friend asked that one friend for $1,000, but a woman with 10 friends can ask each friend for $100. But a woman with 20 friends can ask each friend for $50. And a woman with 40 friends can go and ask each one of them for $10 or $20. Either way it goes, the woman still got $1,000. So just because she only asked you for $50 doesn't mean that she didn't ask 5 other guys or 10 other guys for $50 so that she could get that $500 because she needed $500. So to you, it wasn't negatively impactful to you because it was just $50. You waste that kind of money on a regular basis. So giving it to her doesn't hurt because you wasn't trying to invest it anyway. But if you recognize that in the friend zone, if you're not in the friend zone going to be able to tell her, oh, I'm horny, and she's going to satisfy that. See what I'm saying? But if she tells you that she needs $50 for the light bill, when her light bill is $150, she went to 3 different guys and told them the same thing. I need $50 for the light bill. She gets $50 for the light bill. No guy can tell a girl in the friend zone that, he wants steak dinner and she's got to cook it. She's not going to do that shit. She's not going to, your female friend in the friend zone is not going to cook dinner for you every day. She's not going to bring you lunch to work every week where she made it herself and brought it to you. That's girlfriend behavior. The women that have you in a friend zone, they have you in a friend zone because they do not have strings attached to the request that they get from you. You do whatever it is that they tell you to do, and they don't have to reciprocate. So why are men pulling away from the women? Men are pulling away from the women because the women are selfish and they're not generous, but they're highly demanding. They are bullified tyrants in some situations where they are not treating their partner the way they want their partner to treat them. They are not investing in their relationship the way they want to receive out of their relationship. And then they're dissatisfied with the results. If you are not going to plant your seeds and fertilize your crops and water your garden and grow your crops and then harvest your crops so that you can enjoy a good harvest, then you're not going to be able to say that, oh, because the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, that when you get there, that the grass is going to stay green. It's green because your ass ain't there. But once you get there, that shit's going to dry out just like it did where you was before, because you're going to deplete the resources until the resources are gone. You know the old saying that, nobody misses the water in the well until the well runs dry. I mean, they don't miss you until you're gone. They don't miss your money until it's no longer there. They don't appreciate you until they're with somebody that doesn't appreciate them. But then they want to come and circle back and try to see if they can fix the situation. You don't got time for that shit. You learned from your mistakes the first time around, getting involved with this person. So now when you move on, you're like, nope, not doing it. It's not happening. And that's when a female is going to get upset. Oh, well, why you won't give me another chance? Well, why the fuck did you leave the first time? Why didn't you give the relationship a fucking chance? Because if you would have invested the effort into the relationship that I was investing into the relationship, we would have been successful. The amount of effort that you put into making me look like shit and feel like shit, you could have put into making us both feel better about each other. And then your relationship would have been more successful. But because you spend so much time dominating your boyfriend and mistreating your boyfriend and controlling your boyfriend and grabbing him by the neck and all the other things that you see women do on social media with some of these skits that aren't actually skits. That's how women actually treat men. And men allow it to happen because they love her, because they don't want to be alone. That's really what it is. Not because, the sex ain't that good that she could treat him like shit, because the money ain't that good. You've seen 19 different women leave Chris Brown. There wasn't enough money in the world for them to keep getting black eyes and broken jaws and dislocated rotator cuffs. They wasn't going to be able to say that, oh, it's okay. It's okay. He's a millionaire. I can take these licks. No. After they get hit a couple dozen times, they're like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Not enough money in the world for me to get treated like shit. Same thing in a relationship with broke men. The man is going to say that not enough sex in the world is going to be good enough for me to be putting up with this shit. And then they're going to walk away from the deal. They're going to start by cutting her off financially. They're not going to be wasting money on her. They're not going to be wasting their time on her. They're going to put distance between her and him because he doesn't really want to leave her, but she's not going to get her shit together, because the worst problem that we have with low value women is that low value women do not realize that they do not have what it takes to be in a relationship. They're not going to fix what is wrong with them. they're going to have expectations that the other person needs to meet, while they believe that they do not need to meet anyone's expectations because they are perfect. Now they have a big problem, because now you are expecting your partner to be a partner to you when you are not a partner to them. When have you ever played Call of Duty in survival mode where it's every man for himself and you're going to team up with somebody that's not going to shoot you in the back? Doesn't make no sense. You're not going to tell me that we're on a team where friendly fire exists. It's just not going to happen. We're not going to succeed. You ever played the game with the noob? He throws a grenade with you in a room and blows you up and both of y'all die. How are y'all going to be successful if your partner is sacrificing you for the cause? This is not what we're supposed to be doing in life. We are not supposed to be aiming for finding the type of person that is not going to benefit our success at all. We're supposed to be aiming for the type of individuals that will make life easier for us, make life better for us. We should both be able to come out of the struggle together, because we are putting effort into one another that will allow us to benefit in ways that we would not have benefited from had we been doing this on our own. So the same way women say that she can do bad all by herself, a man can struggle by himself. He should not have a woman that is a financial liability. Her carbon footprint should be close to zero. If she move in, your bill shouldn't go up. You should not have extra expenses, especially if she's got an income. I know a lot of women that say that, oh, well, you know, we should go Dutch. You're not getting into a relationship to get a roommate. You're getting into the relationship to have a companion and a life partner. And I've said that multiple times in today's show. If you're in a relationship for a companion and a life partner, this is one of the reasons why men are pulling away from the women, is because you are not a companion and a life partner when you are a dictator. When you're tyrannical behavior, when you're talking down to the man and disrespecting and devaluing the man, you are not in a position where you are treating the man equally, but then you want the man to treat you equally. It makes absolutely no sense that you're going to have a man that you're going to treat like shit, but he's supposed to be the man that you love and care for. And then you're not going to do anything for him. And he's got to put a ring on your finger so that he can eat. And he's got to spend all this money on you so that he can sleep. And then he's got to take you places that he can't afford to take you so that you can smile. But what the fuck are you doing for his happiness? What the fuck are you doing for his peace? Where are you bringing to his tranquility? Why does he have chaos in his sanctuary where he has to hide in the garage under the car with the engine running so that you don't terrorize him? Ladies, y'all got to make it make sense. If you got to think about it like this. A man ain't supposed to punch a woman in the face. So if she's sitting over there talking shit to him to the point where he feel like he got to punch her in the face, he needs to remove himself from the room, right? Go somewhere, calm down, grab himself a drink and rethink his position. And then after he's gotten control of his emotions, he'll be able to go back and talk to her with some calmness. Well, ladies, likewise, if you're sitting in a situation where you got to hit your man, where you got to punch him, slap him, poke him in the back of the head, talk about his mama, talk about his childhood, talk about his insecurities, you're his insecurity. You have to, at the end of the day, think about the fact that if that's the direction that you got to go, you need to walk away from the situation and rethink your position and regain your composure and come back with some fucking common sense. Because what are you contributing to this situation? You got to also think about this. Your bad decision-making skills led you to the other half of the problem, because the problem isn't just him, it's you too. In a relationship, it takes two people to make it. It takes two people to fuck it up. And since it takes two people to fuck it up, you got to see what you did in the situation that led to the situation being fucked up. What part of that did you not do right? You can't say, oh, well, I screwed up by choosing him. No. You fucked up some kind of way, and you have to take accountability for that as well. If you're not taking accountability for your mistakes, how are you going to be able to say that this man is required to take accountability for your mistakes? Now, I appreciate you guys hitting the subscribe button. Thank you very much. Make sure that y'all like and subscribe and join the membership while we got this going on today. I just want to get into this. I really want to get into this because this is one of the biggest issues that we are seeing in 2024. We're going into 2025, and we're going to be seeing a lot more men pulling away. We got men that are not worthy of being in a relationship because their money not right. They're going to stay single because they don't want to be rejected. You got men that are qualified to go out and date, but they don't want to deal with the bullshit. If they go out and they start talking to the women, they listen to the stupid shit that the women say, and then they're like, you know what, fuck this, I'm not even going to try. The women are wondering, well, why are we not? Why are the men not putting in extra effort? If she says she's not interested, he keep walking. Well, because why the fuck am I going to keep chasing? I don't want to chase a lifetime commitment. I don't know about other men. Guys, y'all can chime in and y'all can let me know. I'm not trying to spend the rest of my life chasing you. Lust will chase after sex, but a lifetime partner and companion, I should not have to look for you. Your ass should be right next to me. You ain't got to be behind me. You ain't got to be underneath my foot. Your ass should be right next to me, so I shouldn't have to look for you. I shouldn't have to chase you down. I should not have to be the protagonist in a scary movie where every time you turn the corner, there I am standing there. Don't know how I got there before you, but you forever running from me. That's not what a relationship is supposed to be about. It's not supposed to be like a horror flick. She forever running and he's forever chasing. That's not supposed to be that way. If you're in the kind of relationship where the woman is always this cat and mouse shit all the damn time, that's not a real relationship. She toying with your emotions. Because a woman that really wants you ain't going nowhere. She ain't running for shit. House will be burning down and she be waiting on you. You got a real woman, you got one that dedicating herself to you. She ain't letting nobody else fuck that situation up. She's not going to give you the opportunity to say that she was missing in action. But you notice that women are typically going to put that type of effort and motivation in the first 2 or 3 relationships that they have in their life. The next 10, 15, 20 relationships that they have in it, they don't give a fuck how you feel and what you think. You're going to take what she's got to offer, and if you don't like it, you can get the fuck on. She'll talk to somebody else because he'll do for her what you won't do. That's the mentality that they develop. Now you have to understand this is the other reason why men are walking away from the women. Because since that's the mentality that you develop after 5, 10, 20, 30, 50 people that you've encountered, we want the behavior that you give the first 4 people that you start dating that didn't end well. And since that's the behavior that we want, we're only going to get that from the ones who have not been corrupted by the dating game. What men start doing is men start going after women that have a lower body count, lower social experience, lower rejection rate, lower bad relationship rate, because the less crashes you've been in, the more sturdy your frame. So we got to check your Carfax. You got 100 body count. That means you have 100 previous experiences that did not go the way you wanted them to go, which is why you're not in a committed relationship with none of those 100 experiences. That's 100 fails. Okay? Now, we want one that maybe failed 2 times, probably 3. If we can find one that ain't started yet, that's even better because they're going to give us the dedication that we are looking for. But see, if a 35 or 40-year-old woman that probably had 10 or 20 different negative relationships recognized where she fucked up in those relationships and she was dedicated to treating the next man with all of the positivity that he needs in this relationship that she failed to put into the other relationships, then that female would be gold. The only reason why, 2 reasons that disqualify you at 35, 40 years old is your fucked up ass attitude where you're determined to not change and your inability to reproduce. But if a man that don't care about having children get with you, and you're gonna treat this man like a king of all kings, you're gonna whatever he tells you to do, you're gonna get it done. Wherever he needs you to be, you're gonna be there. Whenever he calls for you, you're showing up. He has no stress because you're there. And you have no responsibility because he's there. At 35, 40 years old, you're a keeper. But you neck swerving, you this, that, and the other, what you not going to do. I don't care what age you are, you ain't worth shit. It don't matter how much money you got neither. You can have an inheritance. You could be Donald Trump's relative with signed documents that say that you're going to get his billions, and I'm still not putting up with that bullshit. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you have. You're expecting me to spend the money that I have on you. Her riches do not define the man. Her riches defines her. His riches define her, but his riches define him. Her behavior represents him. Her riches doesn't represent him. Her riches are, in the Western culture, a woman's money is a woman's money. A man's money is a woman's money. In Western culture, a woman's behavior represents the man. If the woman is behaving inappropriately, then that man ain't doing a good job. He picked the wrong girl. He's allowing her to behave in ways that a woman shouldn't behave. He doesn't have the respect that he needs. He doesn't have the mutual respect that he's given out. He's fucking up in a bunch of places. But a woman that's not spending money on her man, hey, that's normal. That's normal. So we have to really double check. We have to really rethink, look back at exactly what our expectations are. We have to spin the corner every now and again. And we have to remind ourselves to stand on our non-negotiable expectations for behavior. And we have to be able to tell our partners exactly what we're looking for from the front door, from the beginning of the race. We have to be able to tell them, before you get into my car, this is the shit that I'm expecting from you. And if you don't want to do that, you are not going anywhere with me. Like, if you're going on a date, first of all, you should be going on a date where you're spending a shit ton of money. But if you say, well, I'm going to the Cheesecake Factory, and she say, well, she don't want to eat at the Cheesecake Factory, well, that's fine. You can watch me eat, because that's where the fuck I'm going. You know, if you want to go to Chick-fil-A, she likes Chick-fil-A, y'all fine. You want to go to Denny's or Golden Corral, you want to go to a little all-you-can-eat buffet, little $10 a plate per person kind of shit. She don't want to go there. She wants something fancy. Fuck out of here. I ain't giving you fancy. I'm giving you simple. Why am I giving you simple? Because the boring, lame, mundane life is stable. You can invest everything that you're not wasting. You can build up success. Then you can use that success so that you can invest in the house on the beach, the 3 different houses in 3 different sides of the country, where you can have a summer home, a winter home, a fall home. You can trips around the world, a townhouse in another country. You understand? You don't get that lifestyle by just working a 9 to 5 at $20 an hour. You get that type of lifestyle by dedicating yourself to improving your wealth, which means that the man's got to watch the budget. The man's got to be able to, if he's got a woman that's going to watch the budget with him, that's a keeper. That's a keeper. If I'm going to invest in the stocks and I'm watching it for half the day and you're watching it for the other half of the day, and we're going to buy and sell and we're going to flip this money and we're going to make the money make money for us so that we don't got to work hard, that's a keeper. If you're starting up a business and you're working to pay bills and you're working to establish a standalone company where you can hire a bunch of employees so that they can do the work for you and you get a percentage of everybody's efforts where you don't have to work because you built the business, stick to that shit. That's how you make it make sense. Because if she's going to get in there, she's going to help you make more business. She's going to bring more clientele. She's going to advertise for your company. You're going to make more business. Y'all are going to split the wealth. So in this situation where you're finding ones that you're hooking up with and you guys are not going in the same direction because she wants to party and enjoy the pleasures of life and you want to build a life and she's not willing to build that life with you, you guys got to remember that it ain't going to work if y'all are both not headed in the same direction. You cannot have 2 leaders leading in 2 separate directions. One of you has to stop leading and follow the other. And the one that's going to have all of the financial responsibilities after y'all get to y'all's destination, that's the one that needs to lead. It don't matter if it's him. It don't matter if it's her. Whoever's going to take the majority of the responsibility and put up with the majority of the chaos and do the majority of the collateral damage, and it's going to deal with the majority of the social chaos, is going to be the one that's going to lead. Because otherwise, it's not going to work. The inmates cannot run the asylum. You can't have the Indians overrunning the chiefs. You cannot have a rebellion in your kingdom. It does not work. You are not going to be able to rule the world if you're fighting amongst yourselves. You're not even going to be able to take over a block. But one thing that you notice while we're here in the Western culture, we can sit there and look at Mexicans, 40 people get together and build a life. 40 people in the house, 40 people in the car, 40 people working on the same job, 40 people pooling their money together, where they're only paying 1/40th of the standard of living, which gives them the ability to put the other 39/40ths into investing in their success. Where after a year of living like that, guess what they've got? Everybody's got a new F-150. Them shits is $25,000, $30,000 a piece. But it's easy to do if you're only paying 1/40th of the standard of living because 40 people band together. But if two people can't come together and take your 40 and my 50 and make 90, or take your 60 and my 70 and come together and we're over 100,000, where we only need 70,000 for the two of us if we're living comfortably, but we're being reasonable. You could take that other 50,000 and invest it. You can take the rest of the money and put it somewhere where your money is making money for you, where you're getting 5-10% interest off of that shit every year, which is, $3,000 to $10,000 a year of interest every year. You stack that up a few years, you're starting to make back more money off of your stocks and bonds and mutualities than what you're making off of your day-to-day operation, your day-to-day 9 to 5. You could quit your job and just move money around because you got so much money now. That's what you're supposed to be trying to do. You're supposed to be trying to build wealth so that you don't have to work for somebody else. You're not trying to build wealth so that you can spend your whole life working for somebody else. You're supposed to be able to chase your dreams. You're supposed to be able to start up your own company. You're supposed to be able to put up a trust fund for your kids so that they can go to college and not have to have debt when they get out of college. You want to help them be able to buy their first property, help them get their first car. You want to be able to help them make better choices with their future because you learned from all the mistakes you made with the bad choices you made in your past. You want to make sure that the next generation doesn't have it as hard as you had it back in the day. In order for you to do that, you have to put yourself in a position where you're financially successful, which means that you have to have the type of partner that is going to invest in your success in order for y'all to be successful together. So the biggest reason why we're pulling away is because we don't have partners. We have dictators. We have OnlyFans girls. It ain't tricking if you got it. It's transactional relationships, part of the Riley theory, where you rent the girl. You don't actually have a girlfriend. You just rent the girl. You're giving her a certain quantity of money per month for her presence. You might get sex. You're not guaranteed it. But you're guaranteed to pay for it as long as she's living in your house, as long as she's answering your phone, as long as she's driving your car. You're guaranteed to pay for it. And you need to think to yourself, is that really what you want to do with your resources? Or do you want to invest your resources somewhere else where you can get more results from your resources? Because if you can get more results from your resources, you can be more successful somewhere else. You can be more beneficial somewhere else. And it'll be beneficial for you. And then in the long term, it'll be beneficial for the other person that you're with because you're not struggling, which means you can give that person your undivided attention. And if you're able to give that person your undivided attention, then you're able to show them how important they are to you through your actions, not how much money you spend. And that is one of the longest and most important points of finding a good partner. That at some point in life, you guys reach an age where you're sitting at the breakfast table talking about how good Total cereal is. That makes more sense than forever grinding for somebody else and the most you can do is give your sleeping partner a kiss on the forehead as you leave for work, and you're not going to see him for the next 3 days. That's not how you want to spend the rest of your life. But y'all don't even get to see each other. Y'all just know each other still exists because one of y'all is doing the other one's laundry. That's not the life that you want to have. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and put a pin in it today. Let's see, tomorrow we got our members only lives. So we're going to be doing some questions and comments. And I want you guys to make sure that you show up. We got a lot of them that we're going to go through. I try to go through at least 10 every episode, but I know that every now and again we can get more or less than that. So we're going to at least be running that one for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. We're going to be running through it. And any questions or comments that you guys have, you can always put it into the comments section, put it into the bio. If you're on TikTok, you can shoot us a message, or you can click that link that is right here, and you guys can end up going over to the YouTube channel and subscribing on the YouTube channel and go into the community tab and drop us some insight as to what you think would be good for the topics of the show going into the future. And we can always take your information under consideration and throw some shows up there. Otherwise, you'll be able to just join the show tomorrow and hear all of the wild and crazy questions and answers that we give on the show that are relationship-based questions. And some of them are not relationship-based questions. One of them was actually an economical question. So that was actually pretty interesting. It was different from the norm. I actually really enjoyed getting into that conversation. So just remember that we are live 7 nights a week. 9 Eastern, 8 Central, and 5 Pacific. That's what it is. 9 Eastern, 8 Central, and 5 Pacific. I'm going to go ahead and sign out of TikTok first. So you guys, I just want to say, ladies, I'm going to tell you this every day. As long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking y'all to make it make sense. So ladies, make it make sense. For the rest of you guys, I really appreciate y'all showing us love, especially those of you that are coming from Twitch. So you guys have done a good job of reminding us how important we are to you. So I want to thank you very much. And we will be seeing you guys tomorrow. For those of you that are watching us on YouTube, make sure that you come to the live tomorrow for the members only comments and questions with the fans. So make sure that you guys come in tomorrow. If you've got some questions, make sure you throw those questions down. We could probably get some answers to them before the show. If in the event that you want to be seen on the show live tomorrow, make sure that you click the link and approve the mic and approve the camera. We'll get you up here as long as you're over the age of 18, and then you can join the conversation in real time. Otherwise, feel free to put your responses in the comment sections tomorrow. And also, before I let you guys go, just note that you guys are able to throw us some diamonds on at least TikTok. We're looking at potentially seeing if you guys can throw some diamonds on Twitch, but I do believe you can. YouTube, you guys can throw us some special things, special likes, special emojis, and special comments where you can do a little bit of a contribution to the podcast, throw a little bit of cash down and show your appreciation for the podcast, or pick up some of the membership, the this and that merchandise that you see scroll across the bottom of the screen. So either way it goes, if the more support that you show to the podcast, the more that the podcast can be supported. And then we can utilize that to give you guys a better program. And you guys will definitely love it. Also remember that if you are following us on YouTube, that we have a large rollout of the show for the rest of September going into October. So make sure that you take time to go over there and take a look at that. And with that being said, that's really all I have for you guys for the rest of today. So I am your host, Xander, for This and That, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'm going to see you guys tomorrow night.